I've been told that this old birdie video has some gems in it. This is the roommate of the pedo who got 11 grand to escape the pedo and then broke back into the apartment to try and get the cat. This is a video from 6 months ago though, and apparently they had their own drama.
This is a rumor I would especially like to disprove because my ferret Chara passed away in November of 2022.
Chara, the Undertale ferret. Bro, come on, it's too much. It's too much.
And I don't want my baby girl to be remembered that way. So, there's this screenshot that my ex spread around of me saying I sexually abused my ferret. Of course—
You what?
So, there's this screenshot that my ex spread around of me saying I sexually abused my ferret.
Sexually abused. Sexually abused.
Of course, if this was true, that would be fucking deplorable, and holy shit, you'd have to send me to jail. Straight to jail. That would be it. You'd have to lock me up and throw away the key, guys. But there's a shit ton of context missing from this. Admittedly, I didn't mention this in the screenshot, but the reason this happened is because I was groomed into it when I was 13 years old.
Reason what happened? The message? The message happened because you were groomed, or you did something to the ferret?
Have to lock me up and throw away the key, guys. But there's a shit ton of context missing from this. Admittedly—
I did mention this in the screen capture, I just forgot.
I didn't mention this in the screenshot, but the reason this happened is because I was groomed into it when I was 13 years old. I don't have proof of this because I lost the DMs with my groomer, nor do I even want to find them. I don't even want to say his name because this was the most traumatic time that I was groomed.
Sorry, gang. Thank you very much for the tip, though. I will eat many chickens.
I've been groomed several times, obviously, but this was the worst, and I don't want to talk about it for that long publicly. Another thing I'd like to point out, which is almost as important as the grooming context, is that right in the screenshot I
warn you, I regret this awfully. I genuinely have no fucking idea why I did that when I was 13. I was being manipulated by Maddie. I have no fucking idea why, but when my Hammerly left the house, I tried to make Chara do teen ants on me. I'm so upset at 13-year-old me, I didn't even go through with it. I was so ashamed. I don't abuse animals, it was a one-time thing, which, like I said, I have no fucking idea why I did that. Why? I don't even know what teen ants is. Is Card here? Is that a dog whistle? What is teen ants? Right. It appears that Teen Ants is an animation of theirs, of oral sex being performed. And Urban Dictionary says it's oral sex. To be fair, they say they didn't go through with it. But they said they tried to make the animal do it. What does trying to make the animal do it mean?
Meet Shogun fed the streamer a $10 super bear. Okay, so BPD, hallucination, grooming grooms, NSFW art, animal abuse, doxing. Dude, my head is spinning. This person got raised by the internet and adopted the entire internet as their persona.
Pretty much. Sorry I shoved the ferret up my cunt. I was groomed.
Boss fed the streamer a 25 Romanian Lee super bear. If you publicly accuse someone of something and you want to retract it, shouldn't the apology also be public and not private? Doesn't track for me.
I agree with that. Yes, personally.
through with it. Like, it never even happened. I just prepared to
when all the public figures are like, you could have dealt with this in private. It's like, yeah, they could have, but they did it in public. They'll deal with it in public.
do it because I was 13 and I was told to. This was extremely traumatic for me, which is why, despite the fact that these accusations were hurting me more than any of the ones before this, I didn't address it.
Just think.
1205 fed the streamer $1.99 Superberry.
Just think.
Going off Mr. Bones' wild ride.
How many ferrets can you buy with 10 grand?
Publicly. After this happened, I would cry every time I saw my ferret, and I had reoccurring nightmares about this. I was a victim in this situation, and so was Chara. While on the topic of my ferret...
My ferret that I shoved into my cooch is a victim of my groomer. Holy... This person was given 10 grand to keep him safe from their pedo roommate.
I would also like to address the neglect, because this holds much more merit than the abuse I just mentioned. I got Chara for my 12th birthday with no prior knowledge of ferrets or how to care for them.
I thought they needed to drink my pussy juice. The internet told me.
I didn't know how to clean up after her, I didn't know what food she was supposed to eat, I didn't know how to hold her, I didn't
know you weren't supposed to rape your pets.
even know that she wasn't supposed to live in her cage, and
okay. I thought it was actually coming for a second.
I barely knew anything about her. This is entirely my parents' fault for buying me this animal knowing I was unprepared for it. Despite all of this, I researched ferrets more as I grew up and learned what she needed to thrive, but my parents wouldn't give her what she needed. I was a minor and I wasn't allowed to buy anything, so despite how much I begged, I couldn't get a bigger cage for her, and I couldn't get her a buddy to live with because you're always supposed to have more than one ferret. I couldn't get her higher quality food, and my parents wouldn't even take her to the vet. I did the best that I could for her despite my circumstances, and I would take her out every day to play. I would feed her eggs and meat as a treat to keep her healthy. I would clean her cage every day, and she would get plenty of love and attention. But I will admit that during the ages of 12 to 14, I didn't take care of her properly. I almost gave her away because I admitted that
Which age is between 12 and 14, and what did you do when you were that age?
she wasn't the right pet for me to be taking care of because I could barely take care of myself. But once I did my research, I made it work.
It wasn't the right pet for me to take care of because I could barely contain my lust.
And she was very
The pheromones were too much.
happy for a while before she passed away. I couldn't provide the best life for her because I was never prepared to own a ferret. And although she didn't deserve me, I really did my best for her, even though I wish I could have done so much more. I've since
Please, in this context, don't say that.
become a much better pet owner. I adopted Squirp a while ago after taking care of numerous cats for years and doing plenty of research, along with waiting until my mental health had improved and I was in a safe environment. I wish Chara could have had the kind of life that Squirp has, but it's too late. She was 6 years old when she passed away, and I miss her more than anything. Let's remember her in a better light. She was sweet, playful, affectionate, and full of life. She was my baby.
My baby.
Watch this one. I didn't groom.
I've decided to
Everything. Dix, we're not making a bingo card because it would instantly be filled.
rewrite this section last minute. The situation I'm about to describe is more morally gray than I remembered it being, and requires more nuance on my part in order to explain it. In 2021, I went through my breakup, aka the most traumatic event of my life. I know this sounds dumb, but again, I have big penis disorder, and a simple breakup is gonna feel drastically different for me than it does for other people. This breakup alone put me into another psychotic state where I was essentially dissociating 24/7 and became unable to make proper judgment anymore.
The softening. The softening. This is a lot of softening. What did you do?
Exactly 5 days after said breakup, I was asked
Lot of mitigating factors. Why are you presenting all these first, my friend?
out by my former friend Draggy, who was 13. I was 16, and it was my responsibility as the older person to turn them down, but because of the mental state I was in, I was unable to make the right decision. They were entirely aware of the mental state I was in. I had
The child knew I was having a hard time. Granted, 16, you're still a minor, but 16 and 13.
addressed my worries with us dating, but they insisted that they wanted to date me, so I agreed. Our relationship lasted less than a week, and nothing of a
I was bullied into dating a 13-year-old by said 13-year-old.
romantic or sexual nature happened at all. I never instigated anything with this person. Fun fact, I was already aroace
Hey, Blank, do you think you'd be comfortable doing more romantic stuff in the future? I don't know, I'm starting to think this relationship might just not be right for me.
at this point in time, but I wasn't aware of it yet, so I didn't even experience any attraction towards this person, which can be corroborated by the things I said during this time period. You can also see several instances of me establishing with them that I was not in the right state of mind to be making any proper decisions. But despite the sheer amount of times I said I wasn't in the right state of mind, they continued to pursue me anyway.
Holy shit. We've seen this before, multiple times. These people going, the kid just pushed me to it.
Which, I mean, what can I say? They were 13. Again, it was my responsibility to turn them down, which I would have done if I was, like, lucid. But in all honesty, I think I was taken advantage of.
Oh, it's too much, man. It's too much. It's too much.
I'll come back to this point again once I finish explaining the full sequence of events. So we broke up after dating for less than a week and nothing happening between us, and immediately afterwards they began spreading grooming allegations in birdie drama circles.
How does it feel, Birdie? How does it feel?
I'll admit, because of the weird-ass circumstances, their rumors kinda had merit. There's one screenshot in particular where I told them I thought they were mature for their age, and that was partially why I wanted to date them, which is really fucking gross in hindsight. Oh my god. I'm not gonna defend myself for saying that because that is is groomer behavior, and it wasn't okay for me to say that. I will, however, provide context for it, because although what I said was inappropriate, my intentions were not. The conversation started when I wanted to address the pros and cons of us dating like a robot because I'm aro-ace and I didn't feel anything for them, like I said, and it eventually became a talk about emotional maturity in relationships. Draggy vented to me and told me they thought they were.
There's always this thing that happens where I express that I want to be in a long-term relationship and the other person agrees, but then they leave only months later when things get hard because they don't want to put in the effort to fix things with me, and they reveal they were lying to me the whole time. It's heartbreaking. Everyone I've loved has lied to me, every single one. I always get the sense that I've always been more mentally mature than the people I've dated. Well, since about 2019 I was pretty dumb, because most teenagers never seem to grasp the concept of not giving up on someone when things get hard. This doesn't say what it's being painted to say.
About emotional maturity in relationships. Draggy vented to me and told me they thought they were emotionally mature for their age, so I tried to comfort them by agreeing with them and explaining that emotional maturity is a trait that would be desirable in a partner. Of course, as you can see, this did not come out sounding normal. The way I phrased this was gross because I didn't know what I was saying. My brains were scrambled.
Okay.
And honestly, besides agreeing to date them, I think this is the only actual instance where I said something weird to them. I even confirmed a few months later that my intentions were to comfort them as a friend, and this wasn't an attempt at like flirting or trying to manipulate them.
It was never meant to be a pedo.
The reason I had to confirm my
media literacy, no pedophilia intended, is in the description of all my videos.
intentions, however, is because months later, in fucking Dice, Draggy sexualized my wording in this
1 hour 27, let me refresh.
actual instance where I said something weird to them. I even confirmed a few months later that my intentions were to comfort them as a friend, and this wasn't an attempt at like flirting or
Don't
trying to
sexualize
manipulate
my
them.
words.
The reason I had to confirm my intentions, however, is because months later, in fucking Dice, Draggy sexualized my wording in this situation in a way that romanticizes grooming. If this
It's not weird. I really like it when people are pervs to me. Me too, I miss my groomer so much. Not even as a trauma thing, I just genuinely miss him. Hell, my boyfriend's talking about drugging me. Oh, okay, so when Birdie and I dated, she said stuff like, "You're so mature for your age," and I, less than 3.
If this isn't enough for you, I want you to know that it was also paired with this screenshot where Draggy admits
They're a creep for sexualizing what I said to them when they were 13 and I was 16 or 17.
to wanting to groom and rape Olive Bear, an account that was made to represent an 11-year-old child. Draggy's action of condemning my supposed grooming in the birdie drama community was entirely performative, and in
This kid is a hypocrite because after I was in a relationship with them, they had some sort of child rape fetish, so they don't actually think what I did to them is wrong. Birdie, that makes them sound really groomed. That makes them sound really, really groomed, actually. You retard.
reality, they fetishize and get off to grooming and child abuse, and
They say I groomed them, but they think all sorts of grooming stuff is fine. That's what grooming is. That's like what grooming does.
their sole intention when coming out about this
Your Honor, how could I have groomed them? They think everything I did was fine. And are into it now. What is
was to try to slander me. They never even saw my actions as grooming in the first place. They admitted to me twice that others gave
How could I have groomed this child? They never even saw it as grooming.
them the idea to label it as grooming. Back to when I said I think they took advantage of me, let me explain that too. I can't really say for sure, but like, I think this whole thing was planned. The timing of asking me out 5 days